Hi everyone, sorry about that. If I just check everyone can hear me okay now, yeah?
Yep, can hear you,
Got
Stuart.
Yep.
David Bradley, long time no see. So I was just saying before we got cut off there, I just wanted to kind of open up at first and see what sort of features everyone's most excited about. I did ask for any volunteers and it was a little bit quiet, so I'll start with giving mine. I'm most looking forward to the Teams meeting integration. From what I've read so far, you'll be able to create an out-of-the-box appointment and selecting just through a yes/no toggle that it's an online meeting, and it'll create that as a Teams meeting. And as we're used to, that will sync with your calendar and Outlook if you've got the Outlook 365 app enabled and so on. So what about everyone else? What are you most looking forward to?
I'll go next, Stuart. So I'm looking forward to Teams for sure, but also a voice channel for customer service, which I think is GA now, kind of. But I'm really looking forward to seeing that. We're doing a big so kind of Teams telephony deployment coupled with Dynamics 365 here. So using a voice channel with Dynamics to see live sentiment and do all that wallboarding that you see on inbound telephony is going to be really, really beneficial to us.
Yeah, definitely. That's the voice channel is quite exciting. I know that's been in preview for a little bit, and I think, like you said, it is hitting general availability really quite soon. I can see as well that Joe is looking forward to new BPF colours. Certainly agree there, Joe. I'm not a big fan of the different colours that are there at the moment. Being able to extend that's definitely a good thing. So
appreciate little things.
Let's start by diving into. Oh yeah, definitely, mate. You've got it's the small things that make all the difference. So let's dive straight into Dynamics 365 sales. I'm just bringing up the release plan now. We'll have a wee look at what's involved in here. From what I can see, the kind of new and planned stuff's mostly around conversational intelligence, so it'll be quite nice to see that coming in, and a whole load of new stuff around the sales accelerator. Previously, that was restricted to a separate license. It looks like some of the selected sales premium features will be coming to sales enterprise users. So does anyone have any kind of use cases for these features? The key ones are conversational intelligence and predictive scoring, and the Sales Hub being pre-installed on all environments. I was under the impression it was already pre-installed in all environments. Does anyone know anything different there?
I was under that impression as well, Stuart.
Yeah. And maybe it'll be that it's kind of came in at some point that all future ones will have it and they're just kind of backdating and catching everyone else up. But it seems like a strange one, because as a few of us have noticed, it's already there. I'm not quite sure how that's going to pan out. There's no preview on that one. It's just hitting general availability in April, so we'll just see how that one goes. There's some nice new stuff around forecasting and pipeline intelligence as well. Been able to compare annual projections with actuals, measuring the performance of predictive scoring models with some accuracy reporting. So I think that's going to be quite powerful. And support for yearly forecast periods as well. I'll be honest, I don't use a lot of these kind of features anyway, but I feel like they may be quite useful for people who do the kind of core sales stuff. Feels like it'll probably work for your big companies that do all the forecasting and things, but not so much for your small to medium-sized businesses. I can see some nice stuff here around mobile as well. So being able to, one that's standing out, it's not coming in until August, is being able to sync your mobile phone contacts with Dynamics, which is quite cool, and being able to effectively make them a contact straight from your phone's contact records. So it's quite useful for your mobile sellers there. And that's kind of the key highlights for sales. Is there anything anyone else has noticed that they're kind of looking forward to?
It was interesting to note that the Sales Hub is going to be pre-installed in all environments now by default.
Yeah,
So that's going to
Yeah.
be, I suppose it's good in a way in terms of encouraging usage, but it will be interesting to see, what technical challenges that might introduce. Everyone wakes up Monday morning and then see they've got the Sales Hub suddenly installed for no reason.
yeah. I feel like, if I remember right, Sales Hub comes with Sales Enterprise, doesn't it? But it doesn't come with Sales Professional. Is that right? Or is it one of the lower down licenses?
They're two different model-driven apps, unless I'm mistaken.
Ah, so there's one for Sales Professional, one for Sales Enterprise, and they're just kind of moving to a single one now.
Yeah, I'm looking to others on the
yeah.
call, like Paddy, maybe, to back me up on this.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. I'm not aware of like how they're going to push it out, but is that, I mean, installing it in every environment? I just assumed that was every new environment, but just what you've said, Joe, it's made me realise that it might just be they're going to push it out to all environments, and they're going to combine possibly the Sales Professional and the Sales Enterprise app, because Sales Professional license hasn't been available for quite a while as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's kind of legacy customers, isn't it?
Aye.
It's an interesting one, that, because you may well find that people with
Yeah, because I've got a lot of old customers that I had who had Sales Professional. Are they going to have to move across to a Sales Enterprise app?
Yeah, I'm just checking the notes now. It's saying that it's going to be available and pre-installed in all existing and new environments. So I'd guess I'd assume if you're, for example, still on maybe the old customer engagement license, maybe you're just using customer service, then boom, you suddenly might have Sales Hub turn up.
You'll have to you'll have to copy that app over, because the settings within that app over to the Sales Enterprise app.
Yeah, but
at some point, maybe not right away, but
the benefits they're pushing with this is sales premium capabilities, which would be really nice. So that's a good benefit of it.
Yeah. Cool. I have noticed some nice stuff around relationship intelligence as well. I'm not sure how new this is, if it's just kind of bringing extra bits in, but literally all it says in the what's new and planned is build better relationships with customers with predictive relationship intelligence, engagement signals, and LinkedIn data. No kind of extra information there. So I'm not exactly sure what that's going to be, but the more they can do with this relationship stuff, the better, I think. They have introduced a new top contacts thing that looks quite cool, where you can discover accounts and contacts and email interactions. So it seems more like Sales Premium, Sales Accelerator kind of stuff, but it looks quite nice. I'm looking forward to seeing how that all works.
Very cool. I was going to say, Stuart, on the mobile front, I noticed there's some improvements coming with the intelligent capture of information from handwritten notes and things like that. Being able to extract the OCR, the text, and insert it to notes and that kind of thing. So I'm not sure what that'll look like exactly, but I'm also looking forward to seeing what their enhanced business card scanner looks like, because we've noticed that the business card AI model doesn't account for periods for phone numbers, for example. A lot of people have periods and phone numbers and doesn't capture that. So I'm hoping that this will be an improved model for that. Yeah,
I've saw similar things with, in the UK, you quite often see phone numbers where it's like a bracket at the start, 5 digits, a bracket, and then a space. And the current barcode scanner doesn't work very well with them. It's kind of intermittent, so like you say, it'll be cool to see how that all works. I did miss the logging information using the mobile camera, but haven't had a wee look at that feature yet. It does look like a kind of OCR scanner, so let's hope that works really quite well from the start, and it's not another barcode scanner that doesn't behave properly when we first get it. Yeah, overall sales is looking really quite good so far. Conscious of time, let's have a quick move on to, let's do customer service next. So brief overview of what's new and planned. The kind of core subject areas are around administrator experiences, so simplifying the admin by bringing in a new customer service admin center. Some new stuff for agents, mostly focusing around emails. So enhanced experience of using email templates, enhanced experience for creating email templates, and some inbox enhancements. and then some new stuff around engaging with customers in Dynamics customer service community. Haven't read too much into that, but that looks interesting. And then some nice stuff around knowledge management, particularly around portals and things. So really cool stuff coming there, and some omni-channel APIs as well. So customer service people on the call, what are you most looking forward to from a customer service point of view?
I would like to see any improvement to email templates while composing an email.
Yeah, they're kind of long overdue, aren't they? It's been pretty much stagnant for what, at least 3 or 4 years, if not longer, isn't it?
I don't know what's coming, but yeah, any improvement to the email templates experience is welcome.
There's some nice new stuff on SLAs as well, sorry, that I've just noticed, and some more Teams integration stuff as well. That should be really quite powerful. I'm not entirely confident that a lot of people are using core customer service with Teams. I feel like that's probably more for the omni-channel customers, but for the people who do use it, it should be quite cool.
I think there's a lot of underutilized.
Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
Oh, I was just going to say there's a lot of underutilized features, it seems, in the customer service space. I am not currently using the customer service workspace, but there's a lot of opportunities there with the different agent experiences and things like that. So I'm going to dig into that more to see better how I can leverage those features. Yeah,
definitely. From what I gather, it's going to be much easier to create, I think it's what they call customer service profiles within the agent experiences. So that's all kind of tying back to that customer service workspace there as well. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities there. Some nice SLA stuff as well coming. So being able to recalculate SLA agreements based on changes to an attribute. There's not a lot of detail in terms of what that involves, but by the sounds of it, it's been able to introduce an extra layer of flexibility. So for example, the example they give on here is a case being transferred from one location to another with an update to a country field. That could potentially impact the SLA KPI to be readjusted for the new business hours on the new selected country. So say it's moving, I don't know, England to France. France have got different opening hours because they're an hour ahead. That's going to recalculate that SLA. I think it's obviously more relevant for global customers, but it's a nice wee feature there. Where I can see it being useful is transferring from department to department. So like going up a kind of tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 customer service, maybe tier 3 are open 9 till 5, whereas tier 1 customer service is open 24/7. That kind of thing could be quite powerful. I could see some nice use cases there.
Yeah, I suppose so. You could promote a case to a different SLA based on, say, its priority or something. That'd be really helpful.
Yeah, something like that comes in as a basic case. You look at it and you go, actually, that's a major issue. The customer can't work without this. Let's make it a P1, and that changes your SLA to 4 hours or 3 hours or whatever versus the old 24-hour one. Yeah, seems really quite simple as well to implement. Unfortunately, it's another one with no public preview and no early access. I don't know if it's just the few features I've looked at so far, but there doesn't seem to be a lot in early access at all. There's a few that are going into public preview sort of mid-release, but it's like public preview and then releasing a month later. I feel like it's going to be harder to kind of test these features in our sandbox environments and get familiarized with them before April. A lot of the old releases, there was loads of early access for you to play with kind of January to April and then see how you get on and where you can use it, but we're not really getting that this time round. Let's move on to field service. Surprisingly, there's not a lot going on in field service this time round. There's been a load in the last couple of releases, so I think they're just kind of slowing down a wee bit, but
it's because
core highlights are Windows 10
Ben Palmer's gone.
There's that as well, yeah. Yeah, Ben has moved on. In terms of what's new and planned, it's basically around field service mobile. So some Windows 10 support for the field service mobile app, and some usability enhancements on the mobile app as well. No huge detail on what those usability enhancements are, just a kind of bullet point list here. Customizable quick actions for handy shortcuts such as navigating to customer location or changing booking status, which to be honest isn't that difficult to do anyway. Layout optimization for tablets. I don't know many field service customers that use a tablet, if I'm honest, they tend to be phones. And some enhancements to lookup columns, allowing simple selection from a list of items. That's an interesting one, that. So from what I've read here, what they're going to do is instead of it looking like a traditional lookup, it'll look more like a choice column. I can see that being more useful in other apps than just in field service. But it's another one of the out-of-the-box custom controls that comes with field service that you could really reuse elsewhere. So like the tick box control that you have for products and services where you can tick the market as used. That's another one that you could really use elsewhere, but it seems to be kind of restricted to the field service, particularly on the mobile. So I'd like to maybe see these coming in future and something we can use elsewhere as well. But for now, I think it's going to be a field service restriction, unfortunately. Anything anyone else has noticed on field service that's coming that I might have missed? I think that's probably it for field service. There's not a lot this time around, like I said there. It's a little bit disappointing actually, because we've got a load of new stuff. So the last kind of core app that we've got is marketing. There's a hell of a lot going on with marketing this time round. So having a look at what's new and planned, the kind of highlights they've got are around moments based, which is your individual journeys, your conversations with the customers and things. A whole load of data and AI stuff, and a whole load of collaboration stuff as well. Interestingly, they're mentioning here personalized interactions across marketing and sales. Now, I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I haven't really seen a lot of information around that, but that could be quite exciting there. So what it's giving here is view real-time outbound marketing activities in a Dynamics 365 unified timeline, which is just a traditional timeline. But we're able to search and filter marketing-only activities, such as all emails opened by contact X, and previewing the email content within the timeline view. I thought we could preview the email content anyway, but being able to filter by emails opened by a contact, that's probably quite powerful for your sales discussions. Being able to say, oh yeah, I could see that you've had a look at the mail shot we sent out a couple of weeks ago. I'd like to have a chat with you about the second product down in that, our brand new 100 grand machine. Is this something that would interest you? Yeah, that looks really cool. I'd like to buy one of them. Jobs are good, and salesman's made a fortune straight away. No major work. My tab seems to be muted. Hold on. That's better. For some reason, it keeps muting the audio on my tab, which is annoying. So any marketing people on the call, anything interesting coming up that you're looking forward to?
I'm excited about I've just looked at the collaborative app section, but I'm excited about all the features there. Like what you were just talking about with the timeline, the marketing emails are not currently visible on the contact timeline that I've seen. Maybe I don't have it configured right. Anybody else can tell me that I just haven't set it up right? I don't know. Right now, I don't see the marketing emails in the timeline on the contact. And so being able to have that kind of visibility along with for both the real-time new real-time marketing and the traditional outbound marketing, all of that together, that's going to be exciting. And then the new triggers, being able to trigger a new journey or a flow from a journey, that's really cool. Or trigger a journey based on a data change is exciting. So just lots of improvements that they're coming out with.
Yeah, I feel like marketing's getting quite a lot of nice new changes the last couple of releases as well. It's just kind of pushing it from, I feel like it's already started to overtake the likes of quick dimensions and stuff like that, but it's now kind of vastly overtaken it and been able to really stand on its own. I don't know about anyone else. For a long time, quick dimensions was kind of almost the industry standard for what people wanted, and marketing was almost floating about second place. But I feel like this is kind of pushing it towards the app that you want. It's going to make kind of sales pieces much easier as well when pitching Dynamics 365 marketing there. So yeah, some really exciting stuff overall. Let's move on to the Power Platform release plan. There's quite a lot going on in here actually. I'd like to kind of focus around the Power Apps and Power Apps portal side of thing. And if we've got time towards the end, kind of have a look at the virtual agents and the Power BI stuff. But there's a whole load of nice stuff going on here. Kind of 4 core focus areas. The first one around delivering modern business apps with unparalleled productivity for all users. So a big sentence that doesn't really mean very much. But the key bits that seem to be coming from this is easy record sharing. That seems to be restricted to just a few tables, so it's restricted to account, case, opportunity, and contact. And that is currently in public preview, hitting general release in April. I feel like this could be quite useful for the sort of companies that do tend to do a lot of sharing. It really varies from company to company though. I would really like to see that being extended to other tables as well though. And you've got obviously your co-presence within there as well. Again, that's in preview as well at the moment, but that's hitting general release. And my favorite one that we discussed at the very start, being able to create and join Teams meetings, some in-app appointments. From what I've had a wee look at since installing the early access, there's a new field called is online meeting. It does generate a script error if you set it to yes. But it looks like that's going to be the new field. When you set that to yes as well, it does trigger a little custom web resource that just has join Teams meeting. No prizes for guessing what that button does, but it's a really nice clean feature there, particularly for people already using appointments as well. I'm really liking, on a similar vein to activities, being able to remove irrelevant activities. So when you do new activity at the moment, it's any kind of activity that exists. You're now going to be able to filter out ones that you don't need and say you don't use them in this app. So things like your customer voice survey response, that's always in your activities. No one ever creates one. It's just kind of clogging up that list there. So being able to filter out the ones you don't need is going to be really quite useful. And then we've got the UI improvement for business process flows that Joe spoke about at the start. Updating that color contrast in the path line. And interestingly, this one here, I haven't read into this too much. The owner field has improved. Online presence indicator and contact card. So it's just a nicer card when you hover over the owner. So that's quite cool. Seems to have a button on there for call as well there. So if they do have a phone number set in place, you can call them through Teams and say, I'm having a look at the account that you own. Or even someone phones up and they say, listen, I'd like to speak to my account manager. I can't remember his name though. It's been 18 months since I spoke to him. You could have a quick look there, owner. Yeah, there's the owner. Call. I've got Dave on the phone here. Can I pass him over to you? And he'd like to speak to you about his account. Seems to again be restricted though to account, case, opportunity, and contact. So again, I'd maybe like to see that being extended. What are you guys looking most forward to in terms of the Power Platform generic stuff?
There's some interesting stuff. It's in preview at the moment, conditional access for Power Apps. which could unlock some additional scenarios. Well, I'm not too sure at the moment whether it's just Canvas apps or if it's model-driven apps as well. It looks interesting.
Yeah, I believe it's Canvas apps at the moment, but I think model-driven apps should be coming quite soon. Just on a similar vein to that, actually, the PowerFX calculated columns, there seems to be something in there that's at the moment just Canvas apps and Dataverse for Teams. But I think they might be sneaking something in for model-driven apps as well. The last release it did have in there that this was coming, and it clearly stated that it was just for Canvas apps. This time around, it's similar wording, but no statement around if it's just Canvas apps or not. So we might be seeing that quite soon as well. That could be cool. Yeah, very good point there from Chad. The Internet Explorer redirect, like you say, there are still some silly people using Internet Explorer. I'm aware of a nationwide energy provider. The Internet Explorer is still their standard. Interestingly, it's Internet Explorer 10 as well, not Internet Explorer 11. So not just old, very old and very out of date.
Another thing, just PowerFX, I'm so excited for all the PowerFX stuff. I'm seeing that they actually are coming out with the name manager on the Canvas app side. They, instead of saying an onStart, instead of defining a variable saying that set X equals last accounts, you'll be able to just write X equals last accounts, and that switching from imperative to I'm not a developer, but that
I can't quite think the word that you mean, but I know exactly what you mean.
Declarative.
Yeah, so they're currently imperative, and being able to declare, that's what it is, declarative. Being able to declare it in this way will really make, then you don't, it just defines that for the entire life of the app. And so you don't have to keep coming back and resetting it to that or anything like that. You just say, this is what that variable equals for this app. And so I'm excited for simple things like that, just improvements for the onStart kind of thing. The app onStart was the first, and these other things will be great.
It's not only for variables, it's going to be for collections also, which is a really big thing.
Oh, wow. That's definitely very powerful, actually. Yeah, so let's have a wee look and see what we've got. So there's some Dataverse specific ones here as well that we haven't kind of spoken about yet. Being able to export Dataverse data in Delta Lake format. Be honest, Delta Lake format's not really something I've used myself, but from what I gather, it's an open source platform, so another way you can bring the data out effectively. Useful for your kind of your BI sort of people, but probably not quite so useful for your app builders and things. Let's have a wee look at Power Virtual Agents. We've got a bit of time left, so a lot going on with Power Virtual Agents as well, actually. Starting bot conversations with proactive triggers coming in public preview in April. They currently require an explicit trigger phrase from your customer. How many vacation days do you have left? We will have the ability for your customers to proactively trigger conversations with their full context based on external trigger events such as page navigations or button clicks. That's interesting. So potentially, depending on where they've clicked on a site, it could come back, say the website is for, I don't know, just for the sake of argument, booking holidays. And they go to the available hotels page. That could trigger a conversation that says we'd like to book a hotel. That's quite nice. And being able to use connectors within Power Virtual Agents, that's the other big highlight there. That applies to out-of-the-box connectors and also custom connectors as well, which is quite cool. So for Power Virtual Agents, there's a lot coming up there, actually. It's just a few features, but some dramatic changes there. So we look what we got for Power BI here. changes to DLP policies, nothing too exciting there. Automatic aggregations are managed by Power BI, accelerating time to insight. Not exactly sure what this feature is doing. It's the automatic aggregation feature within Power BI. It will apparently provide enhanced performance and user concurrency to unlock massive data sets for interactive analysis. I'll be honest, I struggle to get excited about the Power BI stuff. It's not really my wheelhouse there at all, but it might well be something that's useful for your data guys out there. I have noticed though some nice simpler stuff, being able to do more within the Power BI experience in Teams, meetings, chats, and channels. They seem to be simplifying that a little bit. So the kind of embedded reports, that should be quite cool. And also being able to very quickly create a Power BI data set or report from a data table in Excel. So you will get people that say, I've got all this old data that I've pulled out of the system we've just shut down. You could potentially set that as a CSV, drop it straight in, there's your Power BI data set, forget about it, that's your legacy data. You're no longer having to connect to an old system that's no longer supported, or it's unstable, or it takes ages to load, or whatever. Some nice navigation changes as well there around the slicer and the table navigation. Do we have anyone on the call that Power BI is kind of their area of focus, or it's something they use quite a lot?
Yeah, we use quite a bit, and there's nothing really super exciting me on there. It's mainly just quality of life stuff, which will make all the admins happy, is my take on it. Yeah,
make people like my older brother happy. He's a Power BI consultant at a firm in Edinburgh, and he loves all that sort of stuff. But he was going through it, and I'm like, yeah, that's nice. There's nothing shiny and exciting like the sort of stuff we see in Dataverse when they make changes in there. Interestingly, there's apparently some improvements coming to the dual write UI as well. I don't use much of dual write myself, but for the people involved in that sort of thing, I could see it being really quite useful. From what I gather, it's a hefty thing to try and work with. It'd be nice to see what those changes are there. You're also getting Dataverse results in Microsoft Search as well. I reckon that's probably going to be quite complex to set up at first, but it could be very useful for people that are running their whole business off Dynamics. Let's see how that one goes. So let's have a look at, we've got a wee bit of time left. We've got 20 minutes left. We've kind of covered the core bits. So just kind of open up for questions and discussion with you guys around maybe some new features you've seen and any kind of use cases you've got for them.
In Power Automate, we get the undo feature. That's
a game changer. That's definitely a game changer. Alongside that as well, being able to resubmit multiple flows. That should be quite cool. Just a couple of messages coming through. Paddy's got a shoot off. Thanks for joining us, Paddy, and yourself as well, Cheryl. Thanks for joining in. It'll be good to catch up with you both soon. Yeah, the Power Automate stuff, that's definitely a few big differences there. They're apparently making some copy and paste improvements as well. So I don't know if it's just something I'm doing wrong, but every time I try and copy a step, it does some sort of weirdness. I'm not exactly sure what it's doing, but you just get an error every time you copy and end up having to do it manually anyway. So it does say in here as well, there are currently certain areas of actions that can't be pasted, such as inside of nested switch statements. In 2021 release wave 1, these issues will be corrected. So hopefully some of those weird errors that I've been getting that mean absolutely nothing will actually have been corrected in there. another nice wee sneaky one as well that I noticed. Currently, as soon as you put a flow into a solution, it comes out of the My Flows list, and it's only available within that solution. They are making a wee change coming to general availability in April, where any flows that you own will continue to stay in My Flows as well as in that solution. So that's going to be more useful for your people who use it now and again, but new consultants and generally people who don't use a lot of Power Automate, that it's always been a kind of bugbear. That says My Flows, I open it, and My Flows aren't there, why not? So it's cool to see that getting corrected. Yeah.
And Power Automate, there is one feature for resubmit multiple failed row in once, which is, I think it's good for the administrator or super user. Once has flow and it's fail. Right now we have to resubmit one by one, but within this new feature you can bulk select and you can resubmit them.
Yeah, particularly good when you've just fixed a bug as well. Like if someone comes in and they say this has been broken for 3 days, that happens to me quite a lot. You fix it and then they go, okay, can you fix the old ones that from the last 3 days have been broken? Being able to do that resubmit action could potentially do that for you, I suppose. There was another nice little feature hiding away there. Flow ownership for service principals. So we had a really recent situation where we took over from another partner. Before deactivating their account, we had to change the ownership of all their flows, and it was just a whole hassle. So being able to set the flows to be owned by a service principal, as long as that service principal is within the customer's tenant, that's the owner forever there. So that's going to be quite cool. That's coming April 2022 in general release as well there. So looking forward to seeing that coming. I don't know exactly how the setup's going to be on that one. I feel like it could be quite cumbersome. Oh, we'll see how that one goes.
Stuart, I noticed in the AI Builder section, there's a coming opportunity to customize pre-built AI models. So the business card scanner, we agree that we both have some issues with. And rather than building it from scratch or waiting for Microsoft to fix it, we'd be able to take that and customize it to make it also work for our situations.
That's very cool, actually. So yeah, like you say, starting from scratch, because there's a full stop or a period, as you call it, within a phone number, it's not sustainable. For the amount of time it would take you to do that, it would just be a hassle. But like you say, being able to retrain that model to say, look, if it's 5 characters, period, 6 characters, it's a phone number. That's really quite powerful, actually. I missed that one. There's apparently some new stuff on model monitoring as well. It's in there that I've seen. To be able to monitor usage and performance of models to facilitate better adoption of AI Builder in production scenarios. So I suppose that could help from our point of view as consultants, being able to say, right, you spent $2,000 on this thing here, but it's being used 900 times a month. So it was a worthwhile investment, and that can potentially tip people over the edge of, do I want to spend more money on this thing? And kind of help you with those sales conversations, like we said there. Apparently supporting versioning as well. Supporting multiple versions of the same model. This is kind of alpha beta test stuff. So multiple versions of the same model at the same time. So you can compare a new version with the old version to see if it's performing better or worse. If it's performing worse, being able to roll back to that previous state. That's definitely powerful, that. You make a change, it doesn't work, it causes a whole load of problems. You're not retraining, you just roll back to what it was before, go back to the drawing board, fix it, and then re-release another new version there. Quick comment from Liam O'Grady: you can't reassign Power Automate flows, or you can reassign Power Automate flows processes where category equals modern flow and connectors via advanced find. That's a really good tip, Liam. That's not something I was aware of either. it would have certainly helped in that situation I mentioned before. I wonder if you'd be able to do that using your service principal as well. Because effectively your service principal is linked to an application user. So they do exist as a user in the system, and you can move that over.
I just figured this out yesterday while trying to convert 70 flows in a system to a service user.
Ah, nice.
So you're able to use
more application users as well, then yeah, that would be cool. So just in the same way that you would do like reassigning a contact record, like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
If you go to the advanced find, you search for processes where category equals modern flow.
Yeah.
And that'll give you a list of your flows. And you can just select all, or select whatever ones you like, and click the assign processes button on the top.
Ah, that's really useful actually, yeah.
I was exploring using like PowerShell to do it, but
yeah, we looked at all sorts of different messy ways of doing it and ended up going into the flows one at a time.
Yeah, well, this is
adding an owner, and it's just a whole hassle.
This way is really easy.
Yeah, certainly give that a bash.
And Liam, does that actually change the owner? Because in a flow, you typically can't actually change the owner. You can just add owners, right?
It adds the owner. Well, the record is still owned by a user. If you the record still has an owner. The record still has one owner when you search for it. So
that's quite cool actually. I might give that a try. Where, like Chad was saying there, when I've done it through Flow, we've added an owner. But it would be nice to just kind of get rid of the old one into the deactivated account now. So completely getting rid of that would be really quite beneficial. What we'll do is I'll give that a wee bash, and I will get Sarah to drop an email over to everyone on the call and just let you know how that turns out. I think I do have the majority of the people on the call on LinkedIn anyway, so I'll probably stick something on there as well. Yeah, that's a really good spot there, Matt. See, I think we're kind of coming to the end of the call now. We've still got a wee 10 minutes left, so if there's anything else anyone else has noticed, then by all means, pipe up now. I know we've got a few on the call that have been a wee bit quiet as well, so anything anyone wants to add, you go ahead now.
Well, Liam, I am trying this right now as we speak. I'm trying this reassigning a modern flow. I had never thought to try that.
It's a really good shout, man.
Yeah, I've checked as well, and yeah, it changes the owner of the actual. It just changes it to one owner on Power Automate.
That's brilliant, man. Awesome. Let's go through the list of participants and just one at a time tell me what you're looking forward to most in this release. So we'll go Sami Hassan first. So what are you looking forward to most?
The PowerFX changes are coming in, definitely. Yeah, I'm much more heavily invested in the Canvas app side, so to see a couple of those changes will be good. And we've tried a couple of times to get co-authoring and stuff to work as well, and we've kind of struggled a wee bit. So if there's any other sort of slight tweaks and changes, that'll be good to get that going.
Yeah, they do have a tendency to sneak in a few bug fixes when they do the releases as well. So hopefully there's some nice stuff there for you, man.
Yeah, the stuff with the switching as well, like being able to copy and paste stuff into a switch function in Power Automate as well. I'm looking forward to that because that's been killing me for ages that you've not been able to paste something in there. So yeah,
it's such a hassle, isn't it? As recently as today, I had one where it's writing from a list of contacts into an array, then checking what type of record it is, so checking if it's a contact or a user, and then writing into the array for going into an activity party.
Yeah,
they're identical, bar one says system user at the start and one says contact at the start. Wouldn't copy and paste.
Yeah, that's the most common use case for me as well, just updating variables. You can't just copy and paste the set variable, which is annoying.
Yeah, very annoying. So let's move on to Kareem. So what are you looking forward to most, mate?
Sorry, I was on mute. I'm more interested about the Power BIs, and especially we are heavily doing some Canvas apps and some development. We try to minimize, low cost and dev efforts. So I'm keen to understand in more details what is the feature they can bring to the team. Yeah.
Thank you. What about yourself, Liam?
I think I'm most looking forward to exploring the Teams calling from model-driven apps. I'm just experimenting with the preview of the Teams chat on model-driven apps records.
Yeah,
so
it's a little bit
cool.
glitchy at the moment, isn't it?
I only noticed it the other day. I'm not sure how long that's been there for.
It went into preview about October last year.
Okay.
Up until about Christmas, it basically didn't work. You just got an error every time you opened it. But it seems to be getting a bit more stable now. Some really cool stuff in there, though.
Yeah, it all looks really cool.
Yeah. Cool. So let's move on to Chad.
I think the PowerFX stuff with the command, the new PowerFX commands, and all the new improvements around PowerFX. I think that's got my attention a lot. And not related to the updates, I'm very excited about this feature that Liam just shared, because I'm testing it and I'm successfully reassigning the core owner of flows. I'm about to leave my company and I've got a number of flows in my name. It doesn't entirely matter. We've got ones with legacy people as well, but the ownership of the flow does impact the licensing that it runs with. And yeah, I don't know for sure how that works. But Liam, thank you.
Yeah. I can add to that a little bit. If you remove the license, the flow won't run. So like when we did the previous partner, we deactivated their license and all of the flows stopped. We were quite lucky because it was only about 10, but those 10 did have an impact. So yeah, make sure that you do reassign before you finish up. Thank you, Liam, for that tip as well, mate. Really good. Let's move on to Lokesh, please. Lokesh Patel. Lokesh, you still with us? Oh, let's come back to Lokesh. So let's move on to Piotr. What are you looking forward to most, man?
I am looking forward the most about the changes on Power Platform and automation there, because to be as I was said earlier, but to not have an undo and not have a copy and paste, that's just that's just terrible. So finally, I think that Microsoft is catching up in the game there, and I'm really excited on that.
Yeah, definitely long overdue, isn't it?
Absolutely.
One thing that I did notice with the that's okay, Lokesh. So yeah, let's go back to Lokesh. So what are you looking forward to most, man?
I actually like the undo button in Power Automate.
Yes, it's going to be like Piotr was saying, a really big deal. Yeah, what I did notice with it that's one to watch out for is if you save the flow and leave the form and then come back, it won't remember what the previous step is. So it's only in the context of that session. It's one to watch out for, but even at that, it's still very, very useful. You put something silly in or you can't remember what you're taking out, undo, check it over, redo, jobs are good in. Yeah, really good stuff. Stuart Ackroyd, what about yourself, Matt?
I think the Teams integration that Liam was talking about sounds really cool. Looking forward to that. Also, I think one of the previous participants is left now. Maybe David, was it? He was talking about the telephony integration. There's a couple of use cases for a client that that could be really interesting.
Yeah, I think I know what client you mean as well, man. Yeah, it's really cool stuff there, isn't it?
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, it's been public preview for a while now as well, so hopefully with it hitting general release, they've ironed out most of the bugs with it and we can actually put it in front of a customer without being embarrassed when we say, this is how cool it is, look, you press this and it just, it doesn't work. Well, let me come back to you. It's just embarrassing, mate, but that's how previews work.
Yeah, I think specifically the real-time sentiment analysis stuff, that could be really cool, like for with a view to customer satisfaction and all kind of metrics.
Yeah, could see being able to drive some really cool stuff off that as well.
Yeah,
particularly from the customer service agent's point of view, being able to go forward and say, listen, I've had a look, and of the 100 customers I spoke to in the last week, 98 of them were happy with me. That's a great tool for the end user when it comes to like bonus discussions and stuff like that. Listen, I'm doing a good job here. Can I have some more money, please? Really powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. So with just a couple of people left, we've got a few minutes left. So we've got Matty G. What do you reckon, mate? What are you looking forward to most?
Can I just say I got called into a meeting about half an hour ago. I didn't want to leave because I wanted to come back, so I actually missed all the good news. So, but I've heard a few people talk about this undo button, which sounds great. So yeah, sounds great.
Yeah, that's definitely a big one there. Looking forward to that. That's probably my second most looked forward to feature. Let's move on to Martin McMahon. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I think just in general, the Teams integration is something I'd be really interested in. But also, I'm in the same position as Chad. My last day of work is on Friday, and Liam's tip for reassigning the ownership of the flows is going to save me loads of time. I spent all day today going in individually and doing that. So right after this call, I'm going to be updating as well and trying that out.
So your last day is Thursday now, you don't have to spend all day Friday doing that.
And I might get to watch the football tonight.
Excellent. That's exactly what you want, man. Cool. Well, we're coming towards the end of the call, so just very quickly from myself before I hand you back to Sarah. Thanks everyone for coming along. It's been really good to have so many of you on the call. We will probably be doing more of these in the future as well, so keep an eye out for invites from Sarah. So I'll hand you back to Sarah to wrap up.
Yeah, thank you, Stuart. That was great. And thanks everyone for coming. We had sort of people coming and going throughout the call. So I'll get the recording out to anyone whose email addresses I have got. If you didn't get the invite directly from me, please just send me a message on LinkedIn and I'll make sure you get it. Any feedback's welcome as well. Stuart mentioned we want to keep doing these, maybe quarterly. So yeah, feedback would be great. But yeah, thanks very much for sharing your hour with us today.
Yes, thank you very much, folks. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, or I suppose in your case, Chad, it'll be evening now, won't it? Or is it morning over there?
Chad's morning, I think.
Yeah, it's 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Perfect. You've got the rest of a day to go, mate. We've only got an hour to go. Well, enjoy the rest of the day, mate, and good luck in whatever the new job is, and the same for yourself, Martin. Good luck with your new position, mate.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks very much, folks.
Awesome.
Cheers,
Thanks,
guys.
everyone. Take
Thanks.
care.
Bye.
Cheers,
Bye.
See you.